Hear me? Yes. Okay, let's start without a delay. Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Fine. Now, let's start our React one. We need to learn one important topic in React that is called Redux, which we will discuss today. Uh, Redux. Now, okay. Now, focus here. Sir, till now, actually, whatever you know, using those things, actually, you can create your React application. It covers complete React topics. But why we need Redux then? Is Redux is part of the React? No. Redux is also same like React Router DOM, or Redux is also similar to Axios. Redux is similar to Formic. These are some separate libraries. Okay. Without Redux, you can do create a nice app. But you know what is the problem? Earlier, if you see, like when I'm creating the big applications, I'm having a confusion of the state. How do you manage the state, right or not? Like for example, in your application 10 components are there. Each component has two state updates. Okay, so total how many state updates will be there? 20 state updates will be there. So you have to manage these 20 state updates. Any of the state update may have impact on the performance of the application, right? So it is difficult for your React to understand which state is updating and how to control it. Okay, how to maintain the performance and all. When the application is bigger and bigger, performance will reduce more and more if you don't manage it wisely, right? Then one person thought it like similar to context API. Basically, what is the logic of context API? Context API basic logic is you will have a container, the main container will have complete content. Anyone who wants can take the content from that, right? Similarly, one person thought it like, why not we maintain a same content box for state, that whatever the component wants to update the state or do any modification in the state will directly take from the store only and will update it. Okay. Same like context API, how it is manageable for the data. We needed one big container for the states to manage the states. Okay. To manage state in global, we use we use a state management library named Redux. Redux is a state management library. Without Redux, also there are so many React applications are possible. Till now, whatever the React applications we did not use any Redux. And you can create it without Redux also, but Redux will make your progress something organizable, like maintaining all data in one place. Okay. For smaller applications, context API can also change the Redux. Like, sir, same like data. Can I directly store the state value also in the context API? Yes. Okay. Context API logic can also be used same as Redux. Okay. Context API can replace the Redux. But if it is a larger application, context API may not work. Okay. Too large application. It will be complex. So to maintain only state, we have one library called Redux state management library. State management library. There are so many alternatives. There are so many alternatives like Justad, Mobex, RxJS. Usually, Angular people will go with RxJS. Justad is also popular one, or Mobex is also popular one. These are all state management library, but most of the people, it's like 80% of the market filled by Redux only. Normally React applications, 80% people will go with Redux, but some people also prefer this Justad or Mobex or some other new one. Okay, if you go to official website of Redux, see here what they are saying, it is a JS library for predictable and maintainable global state management. That's what we discussed. We discussed to manage a state in global. We use a state management library named Redux. Okay, so we can maintain all the states. See, 10 components are there. Each component will have two states. All 20 states, something I keep it in one box. Whoever wants it can take it and update it. Can take it and can change it however they like. Okay, a global state management library, it is done. And what are the main uses here? It's predictable. Okay, like what it can change, what is going to happen, you can able to understand it. Like for example, when I click on this button, what might gonna happen in the state management library, that you can able to understand it easily. Because it's easy to test. If you will understand the architecture, I will explain you the architecture, it's very easy. Second one, centralized, everything is in the global. Okay, now debugging is easy and it's flexible. Let's see here. Redux also have two things. When you install Redux, you need to have React Redux library. Redux and React Redux library, because there are some hooks which are there in React Redux which we will use for Redux. Okay. But recently, it's like few years back, Redux people updated their architecture and they maintained a new thing called Redux Toolkit. First, we will do with Redux. We will do one or two applications. We will understand the architecture. Once you guys understand the architecture, we'll convert whatever we did Redux into Redux Toolkit. It's like the advanced version of Redux. Clear? Now, let's see one by one. First thing, your whole data is maintained by a global thing called store. There will be a global thing named store. Inside the store, you will have all your states. Okay, so the states actually should be there inside the store, which is the global one which we fixed. But sir, how it will be there inside the store? Or how we will get it inside the store? How we will get the data from inside the store? Can we directly take it? No. Actually, store contains a functions. To access store, you need to use one function. To access stores, we need a function which is a normal. How we write it, a normal function, sir? Function something, brackets or const something equals to in arrow function, something similar. That is called reducer. What it is called? Reducer. This is very important, sir. Reducer. Reducer is used to trigger the store. Using reducers, you will trigger the store. Don't worry, we will see it like one by one. I will create the reducer, I will create the store, I will create the component. We'll see the practical also, but the architecture. Now, sir, how the reducer will get triggered then? Will the reducer directly get triggered? No. Reducer get triggered. So, reducer is actually a function. Reducer is actually a function to trigger the store. Okay. This is where state updates. This is where actually state updates. Now, a reducer cannot be triggered directly, sir. A reducer can be triggered by actions. A reducers can be triggered by actions. Actions. They are also functions. Functions which which triggers reducers. Which triggers the reducers. So So actions triggers the reducers, and how the reducer will get action will get triggered. That is where component will be done. Mainly, we will write in Redux React something called component. So first, our component triggers some action. That action triggers reducer. That reducer update the state and store the state value in the store. Okay, and automatically this component will get the data from the store. Whatever the data stored in the store, it will get automatically, and you can able to see. Imagine there is a counter button. There is a counter button, and there is a value named 0. Listen, you guys know this. If I click on this plus, what will happen? The 0 will become 1, right? That's what the counter now. Sir, what will happen now, Bolo? Now I will tell you interestingly what will happen one by one. First, this 0 value will store it in store. Store will store the global values. Store is a global container. It will store all the state values. Okay. First storing. Then next, when you click on this plus, when you click on this plus, the moment you click on this plus, it will trigger an action. And the action will trigger a reducer. This reducer will update the state 0 to 1. And then in the store, 0 value will become 1. And this component will get it that 1 value from the store. Is it clear, sir? Sir, why this much headache? You can do directly using one state variable, right? If it is one component or if it is one, two states, it is easy. When you are having to deal multiple components, when you need to send it multiple states from one place to another place, then the state management library is so much useful. Okay. Imagine lot of components need to send the data state, like for example, light mode, dark mode. There is one state value which is light and dark. So light mode if it is on or off. If it is on, light mode. If it is off, dark mode. So this one needs to be sent to all components, because if you put it dark mode, every component in your React should go to dark mode, right? Right or not? Imagine you updated the counter value 0 to 1. Imagine in your application there are so many places you use the same counter. Okay. So everywhere it should change now, right? So that means lot of components may need to take the same state. So a global store has to be maintained. Any doubts sir till now? Till now any doubts? Theoretically, this is a basic Redux. Okay. Let's see. Let's see one more thing before we move on. Redux rules. The three principles of Redux. There are three principles of Redux. The first one, single source of truth. Redux, three principles. First one, single source of truth. There is only one store. Redux goes with only one store. Mobex and Justad will go with multiple stores. But Redux logic is so simple. You should maintain for all states one global store. The global store should be one. Okay. So every whole component tree should be under a one tree, one store that is a global state store. Okay. So that is called single source of truth, or you can see it like the global state of your application is stored in an object tree within a single store. Within a single store. In that store, you will have one object. In that object, you will have all state values when we will see it anyway. Okay. Any doubts here? No. Next. Second, second one. See, like this, you will have something to do's application or counter application. You will do it. Now, second, state is read only. This is very, very interesting point. People will ask you, can you change the state using Redux? Yes, state will be changeable. But Redux basic rule is state is read only. You cannot directly change the state. Once you made some state as global, you cannot change it. If you want to change any operation, what it will do actually, it will remove the previous state and it will add the new one as a new state. Based on the action, what the reducer will do, reducer will actually remove the complete previous state and will make it a new one. When you are changing it count 0 to 1, instead of changing it the count value from 0 to 1, it will remove the count 0 and it will add count 1. You got my point? It will completely emit the state. It will completely change the state using an action. Okay, we need to explain an action. What action you are going to dispatch? Okay, that we will see. Then third principle, Third principle. Changes are made with pure functions. For the persons who don't know what is it mean by pure functions, I will tell you. If you take it any function, sir, for example, please explain the previous diagram one more time. I will do it. Don't worry. We will do one simple code, and then I will explain it. Okay. Yeah. Now let's see here. Here, if you focus on, for example, I'm just giving you an example. Function sum a comma b return a plus b. Mhm. Sir, can you understand what is happening it here? Can anyone tell me what will this function will return? What this function will return? 5. There is no deal in it. Simple. Now, sir, my question is it changing the a value and b value? Is it changing a b value? No. It is taking a value. It is taking b value. It is adding and returning a new value. But a value is still 2 only. B value is still 3 only. Right or not? This is a pure function. What it is called? Pure function. Pure function and impure function means, pure function means it will not change the values of arguments it received. It is a basic JavaScript concept. Again, I am explaining you. Pure functions never change the arguments it received. It received A, B, and it not gonna change them. What if I write like this? See, I write it here A plus plus. Now what will be the answer? Now what will be the answer here? 6. But it is changing the A value which it is getting. Right or not? Whatever the value it is coming, it is getting, those values it is changing it. And that is called impure function. What it is called? Impure function. Okay. So Redux always deals with something called pure functions, sir. Redux always deals with pure functions. One more time here. Whatever the values it received, sir, 2 comma 3, the 2 value of a is changed to 3. So that is why it is impure. For example, if there is no change, if just I am doing it a normal one, console.log or something, or return or something, but it is not changing ap value which it is not, it is inputting that is called pure. Okay. In Redux we will use only pure functions. Redux will go with three things. First one, single source of truth, global store. Second one, always state is read only and can be updated only by actions. Even if the actions it is updating, where it is updating, it should update it in a function named reducer. And that reducer should be a pure function. Reducer is also function, I told. It should be pure function. Sir, I'm gonna do one counter logic. Now we will do counter application because you all know how to do counter application. I will do counter with Redux. And then I will come back to the diagram and I will show you the diagram one more time so that you will remember it for life. Okay. Then we'll go for higher applications. Okay. Okay. Now let's close all. CD projects, npm create which at the rate latest uh, Redux counter React JavaScript cd Redux counter npm install Redux 1 source. Okay, someone asked me that they heard something called map state to props, map dispatch to props kind of things. Sir, in olden times, like now olden times means before hooks. Before hooks, Redux used to have something called connect method. I will show you what is the recent method. Then I will tell you how they used to do in olden times. Okay. We are not using those things now, but anyway, I will show you. npm run dev, and we need to install cd redux counter and npm install redux react redux. Two things, redux and the react redux, you need to install both, sir. Huh? What? Spellings are wrong. Okay, anyway, it's installed. You can go to the package.json. Sir, you can see it here. Redux is there, react redux is there. Redux toolkit, I'm not installing it. We are doing basic redux. Okay. Which is has to be done in most of the companies. They are using still redux only. They did not update to toolkit, but some companies like to update it. Now go here, app.json. You all know these things. Redux counter. And now import. Now, first thing, what is the first thing I need? I need a store. Okay. So let's write it different functionalities, sir. One by one. Store dot store. This is a normal JavaScript only. It's not JSX. Store.js. I need to create it where we need a store, and we need to create it something called Reducer is a function. So I'm gonna create it all separate files. But actually, some people will do it like everything in one file also. It's up to us. Okay. So, and then reducers.js. Reducers are basically a function. Okay. Now, after reducers, we need to go with actions. First, I will write reducer because to create a store, you need reducer first. Okay. So I will start with this initially, something like const initial state. Sir, it can be any name, sir. I'm taking it initial state. Don't take it like it has to be initial state name. It can be anything. Now, in the initial state is an object. This initial state object you are going to give for the store. So in store, all the state values will store now. That means for all the state values, you should give initial values now, right or not? Now, how many are there? That many you will have it in object. Now, sir, I am gonna have it only one state value, which is count. That is 0. Or what if I have an account 2 with initially starts with 100? Any problem, sir? No. How many state values you need? All state values, the initial values of them will be inside an object. And I just created an object. The object name is initial state. It can be anything. Till now, I did not do any reducer, right or not? Now, reducer will take two things. One is the action. Based on what action, what update need to be done. Because you just now understood, Redux will change it based on action type. In reducer, based on action type. So it should know based on what action it should change. For example, increment plus karo, decrement minus karo. So by based on what action, what needs to be changed, it will understand. Okay, it will understand, sir. Now I'm gonna write it. Let's write it a reducer here. Const uh, reducer 1. I'm writing it reducer 1. Sir, this is a function, sir. Function means what it will have. This is basically a function, right? But remember, two rules, two rules of Redux. This reducer will take action. Based on the action, reducer will update the state. Second rule, reducer is a pure function. It will not gonna update it whatever it actually receives. It not gonna change it. It will just replace it with the new one actually. Same way how I changed instead of count value 0 to 1, it will make it count 0, remove 1, it will make it count 1 appear there. Okay. Now how it's gonna work? Let's see. Here it will take two things. One is uh, state, which is equals to initial state. Sir, you can directly write initial state, sir. Okay. I'm writing it state equals to initial state means this whole initial state value, I'm taking it as state. Inside the reducer one, I can write it anywhere state means nothing but initial state only. Every time instead of writing it initial state, I'm taking it initial state as state. It's like some variable I'm taking it. Okay. Comma. Here it will take it something called actions. Okay. Whatever the actions we just pass it. Okay. That actions it will write it, sir. Here action. The action can be anything. Okay. Increment is a one action or decrement can be one action, sir. Here you will have so many actions. So I'm writing it. Usually actions will have two things. One is the data, one is the type. One is the data and type. Sir, here we don't need any data. For example, when you click on increment button, decrement button, you don't need any data to send. But when you do to do application or when you do CRUD application, sometimes it has to send the data like ID, it has to send sometimes. Or sometimes when you are posting the data, whole form data, it has to send, right? Sometimes application need to send the data. and at the same time what type of action you are doing it, what type of action you are doing it. Here only type is there, so I'm checking it based on action dot type. In the action, so action is a object, action is a object which contain type, which contain type. Sir, if type, based on the type I'm doing it, sir. Understand it slowly. If you are getting it one application, that's enough for you to do everything. Now inside this application, now here in the switch cases, switch will have cases. If case incre incre case decre and default. Default. If for example I'm having it something called increment, sir, what will do? If case increment happened, you should return. Increment means I should actually change the value. Whatever the state value is there, the same state value, comma, count will become count plus one. Sorry, count is inside the state. State dot count plus one. So again, if I do this, state dot count minus one, or if it is default, I will directly return state. Sir, interesting point is this. Understand, whenever you are passing it incr, something incr. Okay, sir, how it will know incr and all? We will do. We did not created action till now. If action is saying incr, automatically it will take the state value. In the state value, anything, whatever is there in state value, two things are there. Count to count. Count to it will keep same, because this is called spread operator. I think you guys remembered it. Okay. Except that wherever state is there in the state of count, in the count, what I'm doing it, I am taking it state dot count. What is state dot count? 0. 0 plus 1, 1. Sir, understand, it is not updating the state value. If you write it something like this, sir, previous state dot count will become now state dot count plus 1, sir. It will not gonna work out, because by definition, redux state cannot be changed. It's a read only property. So what you are doing it, you are giving a new count value. You are giving a new count value, which is 1. What is the old count? 0. So it will remove count 0 completely. That complete line itself it will remove, and it will add count to 1. Instead of updating 0 to 1, it will teach, remove it completely, count 0, and it will make it count 1. Is it clear, sir? It replaces, not updates. That's an interesting point. Now, now you understand it. Okay, you need to export it. I have to export default reducer 1. Sir, this one, now you understand. Is this one changing the values it is getting? Is this changing the initial state? No. Is it changing the action? No. It is just using them, but it is not changing their values. So that's why it is called pure function. And this is a reducer. Now this reducer, using reducer, you will create store, and at the same time, how reducer will work based on actions. Sir, what if there are no actions? Reducer will not work. What is this statement means? The statement means if action dot type is a inc or decr, then only it will work now. What if there are no actions only in your code? It will not gonna work out. So reducer will work it based on action, sir. Now let's create the store also, sir. How do you create it a store? To create a store, You need to import, create store. You need to import something called create store. Sir, you are getting this strike because people are now not using this create store and all. Okay. Because the Redux toolkit came. Okay. Redux toolkit architecture is somewhat different. Oh, so they removed this create store, but still it is actually the old code base legacy one. Okay. This is how we used to create it. And now import reducer one from reducers. And here I'm gonna write it const state equals to oh sorry, not state, store equals to create store, create store. Okay, reducer one. And I'm gonna write it export default. Huh? Export default store. Listen, the latest method I will show, don't worry. Okay, this method for redux only store, creating method is create store only. But now we are having it redux toolkit. In redux toolkit we will use different way, that also we will do. Okay, but this is how redux works. In redux use the create store only, sir. Now we created the store, we created the reducers. Now we need to create it actions. Okay, the actions which gonna trigger. Now let's create it in another function named actions. Actions dot js. Actions dot js. Now in the actions, I'm gonna write it a simple logic. If someone writes here export const increment return type incr, decrement return type decr. Sir, see how much easy the actions are. Action means if someone calls an increment function, it will return something type incr. Now understand inside the action, what it is returning type incr. If action type is incr, automatically in reducer, what will happen? It will make it the state value update. And where it will update? It will update in the store. And from the store, I will take it the component. Right or not? Is it clear, ma? Now, sir, this actions you write it. Now, two more things you need to do. First one, you have to connect this whole thing into the main provider. Second one, you need to write the counter application. Okay. Now I'm going to write it up here in the app. So let's create it an application, a file named counter.jsx, REFCE. Now here, let's go to this particular logic. Where is this app.jsx? Import counter from counter, and I will write it here counter. So what will happen, sir? Counter will come here, right? Sir, your state should be in global provider. Did you remember context API? You will write one context provider. Same way, Redux will also will have something called Redux provider. Okay, which is basically a provider, sir. Import provider from React Redux. Once we have the provider, store import store. So I have store now, I have provider now. Now I'm going to write it here. Provider. Now inside the provider, I will write it this both logics. You can put whatever you like it. Store equals to, I also named it as store only, na? So store. Any doubts, ma? It's like, see, this one will be there in React Router DOM. This one will be there in Context API. This one will be there. If you go for any UI libraries, this one will be there in Redux. Basically, global logic will be there in everywhere. Now, we provided a global store. Now, only one thing, sir. Let's create a counter application, plus button, some value, and automatically how it will update and all. Okay. Now this is where main you have to understand it, like how it will go from one till now. You developed so many steps. Now you will understand how do you connect all the dots from this. This is the connecting point, starting point, right? Now here I'm gonna write it something called p count, which is 0. Now here int, sorry, button na, button plus button minus. Any doubts are here? No. Now understand it, ma. Next 10 minutes focus here. Sir, first import the actions. Import increment, comma, decrement. Spelling is wrong, whatever it is. I wrote two functions, increment and decrement in the actions. For the persons who forgot, these are the functions. Increment. If someone calls the increment, it will return type value inc. If someone calls the decrement, it will return the type decr. Okay. Now, in the counter application, I just imported them and I'm gonna use them here. If someone write it here on click has to call increment. But sir, can I directly call like that? No. This is an interesting point. It has to dispatch. It should not be directly called. It should call the moment you call the action. It should understand it, right? Redux should understand. That reducer should understand, okay, someone triggered an action. Sorry. That reducer should understand someone called it. How the reducer will understand it like someone called? Okay. That we can do it. Online, can you able to hear me? Online, can you able to hear me? Yeah. Okay. Now here, now to do this, we have actually in olden times, we used to do like before hooks, we used to do connect function. In the connect function, we used to write map state to props. Okay. The earlier one, someone asked the map state to props kind of one. But now you have hook. One hook is there called use dispatch. What is that? Use dispatch. Import use dispatch. Use dispatch. So create a dispatch function. So you have to create it one dispatch function using use dispatch value. So const, you can name anything. I'm naming it as dispatch only so that I can remember it. Const dispatch equals to use dispatch. And if you want to give it any value in that, you can give it like the initial one, but basically it don't need any. It will directly redux. So if you use this dispatch one, whatever it creates, that one by default, it will dispatch into the redux. It will dispatch into the redux store, sir. So now here I'm gonna write it on click. If someone clicks it here, Here I will write dispatch increment. Dispatch increment. So I am dispatching an event increment. I am dispatching an event increment. See, understand. Understand. Now our work. Now I will tell you. So in someone here wrote it one function plus, and if the plus clicked, there is a dispatching function. A function it dispatches an event, a function named increment here. The increment function, what it will do? Increment function will return incr. Increment function will return incr. Automatically, incr will go to redux. In reducer. In reducer, if the action dot type is incr, if the action dot type is incr, what it will do? It will make it the count value state count plus one. State count is actually zero, so zero plus one. It will become one. Where it will become one? In this store. So automatically from the store, who will get it? Component. You got my point. Now, sir, how the component will get it, sir? How the component can get from the state, from the store? If anyone wants to take it from global store, how they will take it, sir? If anyone wants to take it from global store, how they will take it? Use selector. What is that called? Use selector. Use selector. Okay. Use selector, sir. Now here you can write it const count equals to use selector. Okay. Huh? Why two times it is important? Okay. Use selector, and the use selector will take it the logic, sir. By default, the use selector will take it a callback function. So use selector callback function is taking it a basic state value and returning state dot count. Inside the state, two are there. Remember, inside the state you have actually two. One is count, one is count two. State is actually here. State means you can write anything. Here you can write anything, which represents the store object, which represents the store object. Now I got the count value and I'm printing that count value here. Go here. Why? Okay. Now plus. Oh shit. Console. Actions must be a plain object. Instead, the actual type was function. Function. So you may need to add a middleware. Okay. Where is the action? Actions must be a plain object. That's what I did. Action. Where is this Redux? Do I need to use action creator? No, it's just a basic one. That is the problem. Okay. Let me do directly. But sir, logic is so simple. Basically, this increment, decrement, these are called action creators. The action creators returns an object, which is called action object. And this action object based on that reducer should call. Now, what I will do, I will directly trigger it here. I will try to do it directly here. Type incr. So I am directly dispatching action here without any action creator. Without any action creator, I'm directly dispatching it. So automatically it should call the reducer and it should work. If it is working, I will check it like what is wrong in the my action creator. Okay. See, this is working. So my action, when action object is passing, when object is dispatching, automatically reducer will understand ingregate called and reducer is updating it and store is getting updated. From store, I am getting it with use selector. Everything is working good. But if I call increment also, the same thing should happen. Na? If I write it here, increment, this increment should return this particular type right? This increment should return something like this type incre, right? Huh? Declaring type is incre only, na? No, I'm just checking it like where I can do. Okay, let's see this one. I think by calling it will work. It works. Okay. So see here, sir. Now, what if I wanted to do for decrement? On click, on click. Now, sir, you just will understand a touch basic architecture of Redux. There are so many things when you go for deep. Okay. Now you will have multiple reducers, what you will do. Okay, how you will do more and more state managements that we will do. And then we will convert the Redux into Redux toolkit and we'll see the newer methods. And we'll see Redux Thunk or Saga kind of things. Okay, there are so much deep in there. Now, anyway, let's go here. Dispatch. And in the dispatch, I'm calling something called decrement method. So one by one, understand it. First, first thing you should understand is this one. In this one, what is happening? Use selector will bring the values from the store. Use selector will bring the values from store. So from store, I got the count value and I'm storing it in count. I'm storing it in count. Okay, ho gaya. Then next, use dispatch is used to dispatch the actions. What does it mean by dispatching? Dispatching means the action objects will be dispatched and immediately reducer will understand it, something action is dispatched, and reducer will take this action and will check it based on your logic you gave. I gave a switch logic. In the switch logic, I gave it if action dot type is inc or dic or something. You gave if else, you gave whatever the logic you like it. Now here, next, count, count only. This is what I got it. And in dispatch, I did dispatch the increment. What will happen, sir? Immediately it will call it increment. And here increment. What will write? Type incr. Immediately here type incr will come. Type incr. So it is dispatching an action object of type incr. So immediately it will go to reducer. In reducer, what will happen? It will take two things. One is the initial state and one is action. In the action, what came now? Type incr. What it came? Type incr. So it is checking action dot type. Oh, action dot type maybe incr, maybe decr, or maybe anything. Now, if it is a incr, in the case of incr, what I'm doing it? I am keeping the remaining state value. That means count 2, I am keeping it same. Only the count, I am making it a new count, which is a state dot count initially 0, 0 plus 1, which is 1. Now count value will be updated and then will be updated, and where it will be stored? Where it will be stored, sir? Where your count value will be stored? Store. Where it will be stored? Store. And now the store, from the store again, the counter will get it by using this use selector and will be shown here. That is the cyclic process. Now see this, you may understand it a bit in this one. Now, what is the meaning of dispatch? Someone is not getting it. Dispatch means whenever you are doing an action, for example, see, there are two persons, X and Y, X and Y. So why logic is so simple? X is playing some cricket. I think most of you guys know cricket. Why logic is if X did 6, if X hit the 6, then Y will give some chocolate to X. Simple. Or Y will not X, Y will announce to everyone something, this guy is great. Y will announce. Okay. But X did the hit. X hit the 6. But how the Y will know? Imagine X and Y are in some separate places and Y can't see the match. Right? Someone should tell na. Okay. X hit the 6. Immediately, someone should tell Y now run is 6. Now run is 6. So this one, which will inform from the action to the reducer, is actually dispatch. What it is? Dispatch. Now dispatch tells the button clicked and you got it a type named incr. You got a type named incr. Same way, the ball got hit and the run you got is 6. It will tell. The moment it got understand it's 6, that guy will announce. The moment it got understand the type is incr, the reducer will announce the state value to be updated. Is it clear, sir? Is it clear now? Okay. And that is called dispatch. Yeah, sending info simply. Yes, perfect. Sending info to reducer. Okay. But what info it is sending, it is the important point. What info it is sending? It is sending one object. In that object, type is there. Okay. It is sending info. It's exactly true. That info is type. First thing it's triggered. Second thing, that type is incr or dic or something. Sometimes it will send data also, which we will see tomorrow. Okay. Now the reducer will understand, reducer will update the store. It's like the scoreboard. Okay, someone got to know. It's like the judge is somewhere else and the judge is not seeing it, and someone called the judge, and the judge will change the scoreboard for that guy. Okay, that is the global player manage. It's like exactly how the scoreboards in cricket works in the same way. Only the thing is, action and reducer will be understood by something called where is this one? Yeah, the, between this both dispatch will be there. Use dispatch, sir. In olden times,